many times have you had your parents say, "Are you listening to me?" or "Did you hear what I just said?" Does this usually happen when you're on your phone or texting someone? Do you not really want to say no because you don't want that person to know that you weren't really hearing what they were saying? In today's society, it is becoming increasingly more common that listening skills are being diminished, partly due to increased distractions. The ability to truly listen and hear the intended words spoken to us is a skill that each of us can continue to strengthen in, both personally, like with family and friends, professionally, like with teachers and employers. Strengthens active listening ensures I hear the process and response appropriately. According to Merriam-Webster, listening is to, quote, pay attention to sound, to hear something with thoughtful consideration, or to catch an unexpected sound, end quote. It is a fundamental part of the process of communication. Listening is key to effective communication. Without the ability to listen effectively, messages can easily be misunderstood and can easily break down. If there's one communication skill you should aim to master, it's listening. According to encyclopedia.com, about 42% of adults spend their time in listening environments. And surprisingly, children spend about 58% of their time doing the same thing. Research has shown that when we get older, we have to listen better because our brains are multitasking and we lose our ability to focus, so our listening is reduced. Active listening is the most complex part of the communication process. It is considered by some communication researchers to be more difficult than speaking. If you remember what I asked earlier, have you ever had someone ask you if you heard what they just said? This seems to be a question that parents ask often. Hearing and listening are actually two separate skills, but are necessary to ensure effective communication. According to the University of Minnesota Duluth, hearing is simply the act of perceiving a sound by ear, while listening requires concentration so your brain can process meaning from words and sentences. Hearing is not the same as listening. Their study determined that most people tend to be, quote, hard of listening rather than hard of hearing, end quote. In order to become a better communicator, we must strengthen both effective listening and effective hearing. To become an effective active listener, there are steps you can practice by making you a better communicator. According to classroom.synonym.com, there are 5 processes: receiving, attending, understanding, remembering, and responding. Receiving. The first part of listening consists of being heard. If you are not hearing, you can't listen. Therefore, receiving is the most significant step of the entire listening process. For example, making eye contact with a person so they know that you are receiving what they are telling you. Attending. To effectively listen, you must block out all outside distractions that might prohibit you from fully hearing the speaker. For example, not multitasking while someone is speaking to you, like being on your phone. Understanding. Listening to what is being said does not mean that you know what is being said. However, once you listen to the words being spoken and use background clues and information, it will allow you to fully understand what is being said and allow you to answer accordingly. Remembering. Most listening requires some form of remembering. You do not need to memorize word for word what the person is saying. However, a general information that is being stated needs to be remembered to an extent. Otherwise, the entire point of the conversation could be lost. Responding. A response is needed to successfully signify communication. with the speaker. Response can be verbal or even a casual nonverbal body movement. As I mentioned earlier, in addition to being an effective listener, we must also look at the importance of listening effectively. In Ron Iwankovitch's publication, The Importance of Listening, in the 2001 Volume 17 publication of Language Arts Journal of Michigan, he explains that as humans, we exhibit poor listening skills without actually realizing it. He includes studies done by the University of Minnesota that reported that 60% of misunderstandings can be traced back to poor listening in the workplace. And another study was done by the Family Service Association of America that reported 87% of conflicts can be traced to poor communication or no communication within a marriage. He concludes by saying that the benefit of good listening goes beyond helping businesses, they also help individuals. We grow as communicators once we just take the time and listen. In Amy Sullivan's 2011 publication, The Importance of Effective Listening Skills, Implications for Workplace Dealings with Difficult People, published by the University of Southern Maine Digital Commons, a survey was done to try to identify the importance of leadership skills, effective listening, both in supervisors and their employers, and to evaluate its impact in the workplace, specifically when dealing with difficult people and everyday interactions. The results of the survey data indicated that both the supervisors and their workers felt that effective listening skills in the workplace is important to both communicating with their coworkers to accomplish their work, as well as the customers who communicate issues or concerns that need to be addressed. As a nanny, I have personal experience with having to listen to both the parents giving me instructions, as well as the children giving me what they want to do. I have to be able to find the balance between being a caretaker and a protector, as well as a friend and someone the children can have fun with. In conclusion, being a good communicator involves both active listening and active hearing. We can practice our active listening skills by using the processes of receiving, attending, understanding, remembering, and responding when engaging in conversation. By using all of these skills together, it makes for better communication skills, resulting in a clear and effective decisions, communications, and instructions with our interpersonal relationships. As a nanny, active listening is crucial in the parent relationship because I must hear the instructions they are providing, stay focused on the conversation so that I receive their message and understand their instructions, remember what they instructed to show that I've received all this information, and provide a verbal cue so they know that I heard them. And with the children, I must ensure that I communicate in a way that they can understand based on their age, receive any feedback from discussions we've had to make statements clearer, and acknowledge them with verbal cues to demonstrate that I have heard and acknowledged them. Learning process for better communication through active listening can also ensure that we don't cause our parents to say the words, "Did you hear what I said? Are you listening?" Because now you really are. Thank you.